We anticipate in the next 10 to 12 years approximately 8 to 6 million Hispanics coming into the United States and 41 million Asians. You have been the majority minority for 400 years in this country. You have been the number 2 population for 400 years. You're going to get kicked out of being number 2. You're going to go down and become number 4. Now, common sense, even a 3rd grade education would tell you, if you didn't get anything when you were number 2, you all jumped ahead of me, but anyway, you can guess what you're going to get when you become number 4.
President Biden, do you support reparations?
Well, I mean, since I haven't spoken on this, got a chance. Number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single continent. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 27 of 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is that not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America. Systemic racism that has plagued our nation for far, far too long. I said that over the course of the past year that the blinders have been taken off the nation, the American people. But what many Americans didn't see or had simply refused to see couldn't be ignored any longer. Those 8 minutes and 46 seconds that took George Floyd's life opened the eyes of millions of Americans and millions of people around all over the world. It was the knee on the neck of justice, and it wouldn't be forgotten. And it's not white Americans' fault, but just a fact.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today, many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. Now, this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
We are owed $104 trillion on the very low end, plus $735 billion recurring. This number does not include the cost of about 50 Black Wall Streets that were decimated, nor compound interest from 2017 when Sean D. Rochester's book, The Black Tax, was published, nor the cost of Black life, nor the cost of living increases, nor the war on drugs, nor the current day pandemic. The number I'm working with is for slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives. If you believe in this number as I do and would like to join me in the fight for reparations, please email me at friendsofadostv@gmail.com. That's friendsofadostv@gmail.com.
Good afternoon on the West Coast. Good afternoon in the mountains. Good afternoon in the Central. Good afternoon on the East Coast. You know exactly who it is. Family! Angela Nirvana, your hostess with the mostest on the reparationist perspective, bringing you those Adocs, hot topics, and making the case for reparations, making the case for democratic for weaponizing our vote and socializing our suffering. And today, family, one of 9 series that God is birthing through me. I am leaning in. I am on my square. These reparations are coming in the trillions over multi-generations. You see, it's got to happen in Adocs before it can happen in your bank account. Do you understand how our ancestors secured our emancipation? That freedom was in them before it was made manifest. Do you understand how Dr. Martin Luther King and the civil rights leaders manifested our civil rights? It was birthed in them before it was made manifest. So do you get the correlation? We have got to be fully invested, family. It's reparations happens within us first before it can show up in our bank accounts in the trillions over multi-generations. We have got to understand that it is a debt that is owed for slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives. When you become one with what you are owed, then your checks will show up in the bank account. That's how this works. Nothing is made manifest until it is settled within you. Nothing. You can think on $1 million. You can think on it all day long. You can think on reparations all day long. Think about it. Anything that you ever thought about or even said, if you didn't marry it to your feelings, it wasn't coming. So God is birthing all these amazing shows through me, and I'm trying to be everywhere all the time to sound the alarm about the anti-Black racism that is still around the necks of my people. Pharaoh ain't let my people go yet. And so as long as Pharaoh has his oppressive boot on my neck and that of my people, you're going to find me on the midday. You're going to find me in the evening. You're going to find Angela Nirvana in her big old mouth sounding the alarm and making sure y'all don't go back to sleep because you got Biden, Harris, and the news cycle don't have Trump to focus on. You see, the mainstream media ain't going to be sharing these kinds of stories with you when you tune in for your midday madness with with Angela Nirvana. So I'm not going to belabor. Shout out to my loyals. Oh, my God. I see Brian Johnson. He's doing double duty. He's watching the case and he's watching me. Oh, I love this brother. Tansy, Travelista Flakes from the Adocs DMV, NAASD, National Assembly of American Slavery Descendants. She's in the building. And to all of you who have yet to chat, where you're slinging bricks, where you're being educated, I welcome you one and all to the live. Yeah, the news ain't going to tell you about what I'm going to tell you about. I'm going to dig in. I watch everything and everybody. You understand? Clubhouse, if you want to see the show live, come over to YouTube. That's where it's jumping off. I would send you to Facebook. But Racebook, as they've come to be termed by me, Racebook is sitting up here bothering me. My feed yesterday, they cut me off for 1:12 at the intro. Y'all would think it was my fault. No, Racebook is watching me, and they shut Martin Luther King Jr. down when he began to speak about reparations in my intro. Now, that intro is about 5 minutes long, but that's to give y'all a chance to get your notifications. If ScrewTube is notifying you, I don't even know that they're doing that. But I give you time to file in. That's why the intro is a little lengthy. Well, Racebook decide they gonna keep their oppressive boot on my neck. They let Biden speak. But when it came to Martin, cut it off. They cut it off. So y'all need to subscribe to YouTube, turn on your notifications. what is it? Like, share, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. Okay? Because they are bothering me because I'm serving up too much TR Ruth. And I'm leaning in until those checks are cut in the trillions over multi-generations. Okay? Thank you guys. I'm over 500 subscribers now. Woo! YouTube sent me a big old email celebration. I'm looking forward to that 100,000K. And we're going to unveil that gift from YouTube. We're going to unveil that gift together when that shows up in the mail. Okay? But right now, we are at a whopping 500 subscribers. And it is because of you. Adocs and allies. I love y'all black and strong. Thank you for being the wind beneath my wings. Thank you for contributing to the show. You guys helped me to offset the cost of coming to you live, offset the cost of the investment of the hours I do in researching what I'm going to bring to you. I want to thank you one and all for your contributions. Cash App is actually $FOADOS TV. And then there's a PayPal. It's scrolling beneath. I have to remember these things because doing educating the masses and advocating for Adocs is an expensive endeavor. Many of the people, hello Sheba Black, Cosetta Osler, thank you guys for joining the live. These people that you see chatting as my co-hosts, they know the movement takes cat naps, okay? So we appreciate all of your contributions, especially to the new black media, because the movement takes cat naps, okay? I'm sleepy right now, but I feel like going home because I got a people to deliver because dollars bring dignity and being poor makes us George Floyd. 9 minutes, 29 seconds to the neck. Literally and figuratively, that is what's been happening to us as Adocs in this Holocaust of America with 3 Ks, over 400 years. So I thank you for supporting and loving my big mouth and what I bring to the discussion. But I'm here, like Moses. I ain't gonna ask God no more to send Aaron, okay? I am here. I have said yes. And when you don't say yes to God, well, life is not fun. When you don't answer the call, you just, good luck with that. Okay? Anywho, let's jump right in. Thank you one and all for joining. We got so much to talk about, and I've got like 1 hour before I work in the courts from home. Okay? We're back in session at 1:30. I got to jump off this thing, so I'm going to dig in so I can pray us out. And we can do this some more tomorrow. Whatever we don't cover today, we got tomorrow. Okay, so let's dig in. Where do I want to start? Okay, I don't know if y'all know. Okay, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is up to her shenanigans again. I shared about this yesterday on my Dear Immigrants Because of Adocs show. I'm asking the Hispanics to get their girl. She don't know if she want to be Hispanic. She don't know what black is. She is a Jew. This is her shenanigans. She trying to be every place where she can catch a windfall of our reparations. So I've shared with you prior that she wanted reparations for COVID relief for black and brown people in New York. Okay. It's always black and brown. We're the only ones whose ancestors build all the wealth they now eat from. They earn more than us. We earn the least nationwide. But she don't know what black is. And yet, when it comes to reparations, she is not asking just for COVID relief, but now Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez demands reparations for the family separated at the border under Trump. But she don't know what black is. You have to watch our show last night. I can't do that one all over again. I got too many articles to get through. Democratic New York Rep AOC demanded Wednesday that migrant families separated at the border under former President Donald Trump's administration be paid reparations. You see how folks love to weaponize the atrocities against Adocs. Bernie Sanders didn't even know what reparations meant, although his people have received, last time I counted, $833 billion from Germany and about $233 million of our tax dollars for their Holocaust and for their armies. But they weaponize these things against us. She don't know what black is, but she know what reparations is for her people. Biden weaponized George Floyd to give Asian protections. You see where I'm going with this? Okay, so anywho, AOC was holding a virtual town hall meeting with constituents when she went after the barbaric conditions migrants are being held in under President Joe Biden's administration. However, before making the demand for reparations, she stated she didn't want to draw false equivalence between the treatment of migrants under Trump and Biden. Now, the first thing I want to say is that the fact that this keeps happening over and over and over again is a political failure by both parties. And I want to be very clear about that because I don't want to draw false equivalence. What is happening here is not the same as what happened during the Trump administration. Pandering, where they took babies out of the arms of their mothers and deported their families and permanently traumatized these children, some of whom we don't know will ever be reunified with their family again, which is a level of human rights violation that is just simply not the same. What about the nonviolent offenders who are still in these dreadful prisons, where many of them would not be let out for COVID, who are doing slavery in the form of private prison industrial complex, that many of these government officials have invested in these private prisons? What about those babies? What about the fact that we've got to, by and large, abort our children because we can't afford them? Because we were killed in our ancestors' heinous chattel slave labor, which was the seed of the return on the investment of the hundreds of trillions white folks and immigrants benefit from today. So all of that was killed. We were killed and lynched, and Black Wall Street's burned down, and I mean, you name it. It happened to us. And she wants reparations for something happening at the border while being confused about what black is. What about the trauma of our children who damn near have to raise themselves because their parents are working 2 and 3 gig jobs, especially the ones getting lost to the preschool to prison pipeline right now under this pandemic? Oh, we're going to talk about it. How it's miraculously done, and now we can get back to work, business as usual, under the Biden-Harris administration. How is what is happening to us not a human rights violation that should be Biden's first executive order, and he on day 75 or something like that, and there has been nothing for Adocs? Let me talk about what else they're doing out here, since we're on the subject of these illegals. Long Beach is bringing in 1,000 migrant children to house them over here at the Long Beach Convention Center with federal funding. Okay? Yeah, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. So they've neutralized us economically. Now they're coming for the vote. So let me get to that article. Long Beach will house up to 1,000 migrant children at the convention center in my neck of the woods. Coming to a convention center near you. The city of Long Beach will temporarily house up to 1,000 unaccompanied migrant children at the city's convention center, a federally funded effort that will move forward in the coming weeks with a unanimous 9-0 vote. They did this without us. The city council voted Tuesday to approve plans to use the Long Beach Convention Center to provide shelter, food, and some recreational activities to children affected by the ongoing humanitarian crisis at the U.S.-Mexico border. The Biden administration is working to ease overcrowding of underage migrants in several Border Patrol facilities by working with local governments like the city of Long Beach. The convention center will provide housing for 90 to 120 days, potentially getting set up in the next week or two, city officials have said. Federal funding will cover all the costs for running the facility. Who funds the feds? Of the homeless families in this country, Adocs is over 50%. And yet, the federal government, with our tax dollars, is funding migrant children all over the country who have crossed the borders illegally. Don't ask me why I'm screaming. Ask yourself why you ain't screaming. Mayor Robert Garcia said he hopes the city can provide the same sort of refuge he received when he immigrated to the U.S. as a young child decades ago. I came to the U.S. when I was 5, and I'm grateful that I had kind and loving people in this country that welcomed my family. Garcia said, we were poor. We didn't have a lot. And you know, I got a chance to go to college. And now that I lead this great city. What Adocs do you know who is on that track? Anywhere in the country. I'll wait. I'm not talking about your bootlicks and your coons. I'm talking about folks like me. Who's Adocs proud? How's it going for us in terms of the first Adocs president and VP? How's that going? As you got a VP now who was black for your vote and is now pivoted to being Asian. And you got a president who was the author of the 94 crime bill who weaponizes what happened to George Floyd to turn around and give Asian protections. Not an anti-lynch law for us. Not labeling KKK neo-Nazis and the skinheads domestic terrorist groups. Which one of us is on this track? Or are our children being set up for the preschool to prison pipeline for the slavery going on there? Back to the checks. And I think these kids just need an opportunity to thrive, Garcia said hours before the council voted to move forward with the plans. The Office of Refugee Settlement within the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services will operate the facility, working to reunify the children with family members or other guardians living in the U.S. The federal government will lease the convention center until early August. That's how your tax dollars are being spent, not for your repair. They're just giving away our reparations to these incessant wars, to the pandemic, to corporations, to immigrants. While your people remain the anchor of this country with 3 Ks. The Long Beach Convention Center would be the second such facility in California following the establishment of another space housing young unaccompanied migrants in San Diego. Over the last day since the LA Times reported on the potential housing plan, several calls and emails from residents stating their opposition have come into the city council office. Council member Susie Price said during Tuesday's meeting. She said many have been worried that the city will have to pick up the cost of running the temporary facility. My issue is not cost. My issue is that we, Adocs, are down from 16 to 5%. And of the homeless population here, it's Adocs, the majority. How are you bringing in illegal immigrant children and reuniting them with their families here, or the ones that are stealing over the border with them? With my tax dollars, and my people are the majority of the homeless in this country. That's my rub. Don't get it twisted. How are my tax dollars being used for that? And not to house my people. I ain't talking about in shipping containers. I'm talking about that billion in tax increases that we agreed to a couple election cycles ago that y'all only house 5%. And now you want to put them in shipping containers. Because everybody's getting paid. You see, poverty is profitable. You understand? Homelessness is profitable. They've lined their pockets and paid their contractors. That's why I ain't got no money left to house the homeless, which we voted for the bond to do. If I'm too loud, turn your volume down, because I'm turned all the way up generally every show. If you're new to the show, thank you for joining the live. I can't see you right now. I'm over here getting it in. I'll be back. But the mayor and other city officials have repeatedly said federal funding will cover all the costs. Where's the feds getting the money? Are they just printing some more like they've done for the pandemic? Or is that our tax-paying dollars? Because we know the wealthy don't pay taxes. So that's got to be ours. Price said moving forward with the plans is a no-brainer, joining other members of the council in describing the situation as an opportunity for the city to assist a major humanitarian effort. While none comes for the rescue of Adocs. The children that are going to be housed at the convention center face a reality in their home country that is unimaginable to most Americans. Why is that? Is it because America with 3 Ks is always creating the problems and then wanting our votes to be the damn solution? You create the problems, America with 3 Ks. Then you want our tax dollars and our votes to be the solution. China already told y'all when y'all was over in Alaska to take your happy asses home. Coming over there and talking to them about human rights when you got a Black Lives Matter epidemic on your hands. Handle your business in America and get out of ours. China told Blinken, okay? Price said, sharing her own story as the child of immigrants from Iran who were forced to leave one of their children in their home country. He said she reached out to city officials in San Diego to ask about the facility there, and they assured her the federal government has provided all the funding. No reparations yet. Lean in, Adocs. The tax burden on city residents or any Americans will not increase since the funding is already there, she said. Okay, so it won't increase, but you're still using our tax dollars to remedy illegal immigrants. We're talking about children seeking a new life, many of them traveling extraordinary distances with that goal in mind and with no viable options to go back to their homes, Price said. What about Adocs children who have a mound of college debt and can't get gainful employment? Because we have no more affirmative action. It's been used to give advantages to white women, immigrants, and LGBTQIA. No quotas. They don't have to hire Adocs anymore. What about our children's opportunities in the land that their ancestors built with their lives through the world's most heinous chattel slave labor? What about our kids? Still, some remain in opposition to the city's plans. One, all we're doing is encouraging more immigrants to come through, said Ben Goldberg, chair of Long Beach area Republicans. See, this is where I side with the Republicans. And if folks want to come for my throat, as the Democrats do nothing. They do nothing for Adocs, but neutralize us economically, and now they're coming for the vote. This is when I'm a Republican, for sure. If they see the convention center in Long Beach by the sea, I mean, this is the greatest place. I want a ticket from Honduras to Long Beach. You understand? Meanwhile, some other local residents have agreed with the sentiments expressed by city officials. What if that was me? Or what if that was my kids? Or what if I was in that situation, said Deshaun Tate, a local resident who supports the city plans. This sounds like a lost brother. Deshaun, I don't know any white folks or immigrants named Deshaun Tate. He sounds like Adocs. And I've already shared with y'all about Adocs Ward Connerly in his Prop 209 that took out the quotas for us to be educated, which is why we've gone down from 16 to 5%. We got some sellouts. We got some runners, y'all, that don't understand how immigration oppresses and anchors us even deeper, entrenched into the belly of the Titanic. They're the ones that get the microphone to get to talk. The ones that's crying over border kids over their own gets the microphone. They get to be cited in the newspapers. But let me talk about Adocs. I'm a xenophobe for not caring and giving a damn and throwing everybody else off the tip because all distractions are equal, family. They want you distracted so you don't give a damn about your own. I see them. And that's why I've told y'all you need to weaponize your vote, socialize this suffering. Red top of the ticket and a blue Congress to protect the over 53% of Adocs who rely on government assistance by design of institutional systemic racism until we can replace the lanes with full-chested reparationists, not those that are just going to pander and placate us with a cashless repair called HR 40. Oh, by the way, everybody gets to be in the movement. I typed in the www.fixhr40 over in the chat.com. All y'all need to be over there. They done laid everything out for you beautifully. You got your scripts to call, to email, to text, to social media eyes, the revolution, and you got contact information. You ain't got to research nothing. They put a button on that. Shout out to the NAASD. Shout out to you. You see, but they want folks like Deshaun Tate. I'm all cried out. We're at George Floyd 929. I ain't got time for it. Miss me with it. I don't see none of these immigrants or white folks crying tears for Adocs. I see them coming up over our backs. And if we all stood up, family, it would be game over. Okay? Garcia said Long Beach has a long and proud history of offering refuge to immigrants first entering the country. And don't think it's just happening here. This is everywhere. And I'll be reporting on it. The replacement of Adocs is all throughout the country. Don't be confused. As goes California, as goes the nation. He referred to the city's history of having a large Cambodian refugee population as one example, with an influx of Cambodians fleeing persecution in the late 70s through 80s. The city is the largest home to Cambodians outside of Southeast Asia. Okay, I want to be done with that. Needless to say, they reached this decision without making it public. We found out about it after the fact. That's what my tax dollars are doing for me down here. Okay, so let me tell you who they ain't letting up in this piece. Stand by. Who aren't they letting up in this piece? Who are they deporting? Who are they deporting, y'all? Let me find it. Outcry as more than 20 babies and children deported by U.S. to where? Haiti. Ain't setting up no convention centers for no black babies. ICE accused of sending defenseless babies into the burning house as deportations of 72 carried out in apparent breach of Biden order. Did Biden stop it? U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, deported at least 72 people to Haiti on Monday, including a 2-month-old baby and 21 other children, as the Biden administration made clear it would press on with expulsions of newly arrived migrants pending a review of immigration policy. But you're opening up convention centers and new places to warehouse Hispanic children. Hispanics already outnumber us in this country. Asians will soon, in the New York Minute, we will be 4th class in the country our ancestors built. And like Dr. Claude Anderson said at the top of the show, if you think being number 2 is bad, you ain't seen nothing till you number 4. You think these white oppressors aren't cutting the checks? You just wait till the government is full of immigrants. They are literally trying to make us 4th-class citizens in the country our ancestors built with their lives, and make us eat the cost of slavery. That's what's happening. Right before our eyes. And what is the CBC doing? What is the CBC doing other than helping them? No expulsions for them, but for the black babies and children, abso-damn-lutely. Get up out of chair. I told y'all, 2 ways to be white in this country. You migrate here with money, or they simply make you white by the complexion of your skin to bolster their numbers and to continue to anchor us to the bottom. We're a wealthless group, and we don't have the complexion for the damn protection. Okay? This is how this happens. Made clear with, okay. The children were deported to Haiti on Monday on 2 flights chartered by ICE from Laredo, Texas to the Haitian capital, Port-au-Prince. The removal sent vulnerable infants back to Haiti as it is being ruled by major political unrest. They're not trying to find none of their family here or no one to take these babies or children in. They're not setting up convention centers and making it cozy and giving them opportunity in the country our ancestors built with their lives. Your president, 87% of our elected and voted for this. Biden is the president. He could have stopped that. Didn't want to stop it. The expulsions were carried out under a 77-year-old public health statute called Title 42, first invoked by the Trump administration after the start of the coronavirus outbreak. A spokesperson for the Department of Homeland Security said that policy would continue for new arrivals at the border until there had been a review and facilities for housing migrants had been restored. You see the puckery? That's not the case for these coming over here right now. The return of a family is a solemn and heartbreaking event. That is especially true when the country of destination suffers instability, violence, lack of economic opportunity, or other challenges, the spokesperson said. And why is it unstable in Haiti? The Clinton Foundation. Yeah, look it up. I ain't got time for that one right now. The Clinton Foundation. After several natural disasters, they raised money and didn't put the money back into Haiti. As the administration has stated from the very outset, our capacity at the border will not transform overnight, due in large part to the damage done over the last 4 years to our asylum system and infrastructure. As we review and reform current immigration policies, we will continue prioritizing the health and safety of everyone we encounter during the COVID-19 pandemic. We are committed to restoring our asylum systems and building an improved system. The Biden administration issued a 100-day moratorium on deportations on taking office, with exceptions for suspected terrorists, dangerous criminals, and arrivals at the border after November 1 last year. The moratorium alone would not have stopped Monday's Title 42 expulsions, officials said. Why isn't it stopping the Hispanic children, the Latin kids from coming over here? Why isn't it stopping that community? The moratorium itself was blocked by a Trump-appointed Texas judge on 26 January, though the judge did not strike down new guidelines, calling on ICE to focus its resources on deporting only potentially dangerous migrants. Are those babies dangerous? Are those children a danger? The agency, however, appeared to ignore those guidelines last week, attempting to deport a plane load of African migrants last week, leading to accusations it was a rogue agency. The flight was stopped at the last minute on the grounds that some of the deportees could be witnesses in an investigation into abuse by ICE agents. I'm at 12:42. Let me see what y'all have got to say about it. Welcome to the live, Jamal. Ratchet Race Book. That's right, Brian. Oh, Brian, so glad the channel is growing. Now we race to 1K. Yes. Yay. Thank you, guys. AOC doesn't know what black is, but damn sure know what Latino is when it comes to reparations and specificity. Absolutely. We need an AOC. We need Angela Nirvana in the CBC. Wouldn't you agree? They'll never have it. They'll never have it. I haven't heard about Kamala's blackness since Chucks and Pearls. Brian, oh my God, that was rich. AOC says she wants reparations for the Mexicans at the border and they kids. My sound went out. Uh-oh. Can y'all hear me? I don't know how my sound went out. Unfortunately, many of us Adocs advocate for the same groups of people that will come here and systematically make you a foreigner in your own country. Absolutely, Brian. Toothy, welcome to the live. I say we'll be fifth class. Damn, they're already at fourth. Darling, you ain't ever lied. Welcome to the live. Okay, so I've got a few more minutes before I got to race my daughter to track practice at 1 o'clock before I go back to court. Yes, we hear you. Thank you, Sheba. I appreciate you. Thank you. Okay, so let's talk about it, family. I don't know if y'all saw the video circulating about this police. The police are continuing to investigate racist audio recordings. Man accused and whistleblower spoke out. A LaGrange business owner accused of making racist comments on several audio recordings alleges the sound was doctored and pieced together from several conversations. The man who recorded the audio denies that the recordings are edited in any way. Intense voice for sure, calling for all blacks in Georgia to be murdered. Talking about plans to go through the hospitals and murder black babies. With the whistleblower, who no longer works for him. And this Mickey Vicky has not been arrested. The FBI's have not become involved in this investigation. While Biden weaponizes George Floyd to give Asians protections, You got a whole cracker in Georgia, business owner, plotting the execution of black folks. All black folks he wants gone in Georgia. Moving on. Alan Weaver, owner of Alan Weaver Services, said audio recordings released on social media last weekend featured his voice. However, he accused Dylan Hester, the whistleblower, a former employee at his company, of altering them before releasing them to the public. Let me tell you what Dylan Hester can't alter. You saying that you want to execute all blacks in Georgia. Even sowing seed into Dylan Hester about how to accomplish it. He can't alter that. Mr. Cracker with 3 Ks. The LaGrange Police Department said Monday that it is investigating the recordings, which all feature Weaver's voice. In several of the clips, Hester can be heard speaking, but Weaver does almost all of the talking. If they did away with the guns, this is him, one of the quotes. If they did away with the guns, blacks would take over, and you do away with the blacks. Weaver is heard saying in one of the clips. So how was that altered? Like on Lafayette Court, you go down through there, and you go to all these different places, and you kill every one of them. Women, children, babies, you kill them. Go to the hospital, kill them all. You do away with the problem. The clips vary in length, from 30 seconds long to a couple of minutes. Hester said the clips are not edited in any way. How could he? It's your voice, admittedly. And you said these words. What was altered about them? Coming out of your mouth. Mr. Cracker with 3 Ks. It's 100% false, Hester said. Just as easily as you can claim they've spliced together, you could have anyone come and analyze the recordings and prove they're 100% unedited and unaltered, said the whistleblower. Hester said the clips are from his time working for Weaver, which he estimated to be several months. He said he was paid under the table, so he only has a record of a few weeks on the job. Weaver was trying to recruit Hester to annihilate black folks, and he blew the whistle. Weaver told the LDN that Hester worked for him for a few weeks. Hester said the clips are from August and September. In the audio, it's unclear where the conversations are taking place. Quote, I couldn't record 8 hours of the day, Hester said. So, as we were sitting somewhere and he would get into a conversation, that's when I would start recording him, because I knew at some point, inevitably, it would take some kind of very racist, off-the-wall turn. He said after 7 months, he decided he needed to make the recordings public. And let me tell you what they're doing to Hester now. The whistleblower is being harassed. The FBI have yet to get involved. And the police are only taking this lightly because they're taking the cracker's word over Mr. Hester's about these tapes being altered. He said after 7 months, he decided he needed to make the recordings public. Hester said he asked a friend he knew from high school, Maxie Edmondson, to post the recordings because he knew she was an activist. Edmondson posted them on her Facebook page, and the original post has over 200 shares and over 100 comments. Quote, I think it was important because this man receives money from black people every day. And I'm sure it would be different if they knew how he really felt about us, Edmondson said when asked for a comment by the LDN. How are we good enough to take money from, but not good enough for America? This man stated he was close to lawyers, police, judges, etc. And that goes to show you that there may be people just like him in these positions. So we must not stop at reporting him locally. This has to go further, or it will continue happening. And that's not something the Black community will stand for any longer. Hester said he's still concerned about going public, but felt it was the right thing to do. This is an ally. He's risking his life and that of his families to expose the race devil business owner. I don't think anything made me more comfortable, Hester said, of the 7 months since he recorded the audio. Overall, I'm still just as fearful for retaliation because I feel he's that unstable. But at the end of the day, me knowing that he has thought out thoroughly planned genocide of Black people, and if he were to carry out those things and I remain silent, I wouldn't be able to live with myself. Weaver dropped off a written statement at the LDN on Wednesday. The LDN is not correcting grammatical errors in the statement. As you can see, Dylan pulled me into conversations that it is embarrassing. Dylan inserted words and parts of sentences together months ago and couldn't figure out how to use it to get some of his grandmother's property or to break up our friendship. So a few weeks ago, he borrows money from me and more from a family member and decides to use it as blackmail not to pay it back. Weaver wrote in the statement to the LDN, and here we are. I am very sorry to have upset everyone with some of the words I use, and I hate that Dylan used my voice and my individual words together to say things that made so many people mad. His jealousy, hatred, and revenge from 7 months ago has caused a lot of damage to a lot of people. Be very careful. A very smart kid with a recorder, cell phone, and computer trying to pull you into several controversial conversations can be very dangerous. This is what Mr. Cracker with 3K said about Mr. Hester. That he pulled him into a conversation that's embarrassing. He's the only one talking. But now he wants to blame the whistleblower for having roped him into a conversation that he claims was altered when all I hear is complete sentences. And the FBI is not involved. In the statement, Weaver said Hester was jealous because his grandparents reworked their will to include giving Weaver a portion of their property. Weaver told the LDN that he often eats breakfast with Weaver's grandmother and considers her a good friend. So he believes blowing the whistle on his genocidal plans against Adocs in Georgia is due to Hester being jealous because his grandparents reworked their will to give Weaver a portion of their property. He's trying to tie them together. To, I guess, insinuate that I have some kind of vendetta out to get him. And that is not true. That as he tried to make two things relevant that have no correlation. This is just as bad. And I don't mean to laugh, family. I'm laughing, keep screaming and hurling my computer. This reminds me of Chauvin's defense attorney trying to now convince the jurors that the bystanders, it's their fault. They were too animated and it made Chauvin dig his knee deeper into Mr. Floyd's neck. The bystanders were a distraction. So I just kneed in deeper until he urinated himself and cried out for his mama. Or better yet, his underlying health issues is why he died. Or better yet, his drug abuse is why he died. You see? Or better yet, the knee was not on the neck. He's now trying to massage and do a Jedi mind trick on the jury to make them believe that the knee was actually on the back, on the shoulder. But by then, he was already in cardiac arrest. It only takes 10 seconds with somebody's knee cutting off your air for you to go into cardiac arrest. So him trying to pivot to the end right before they take his limp body onto a gurney to say Chauvin's knee was invited to move off the neck so they can raise him up. So now you're trying to use the knee on the shoulder after you done already killed the man. Oh my God. Family, anti-Black racism in full effect. Back to the text. I got to finish this. And then I got to race her and then race up to the courts. Okay, so, I'm in court from home, but I got to get into the conference. Okay, let me finish. Weaver said, let me get to I got to find my place, y'all. I get so damn animated, I lose my spot. So Hester said, so while those statements may be true, that those events did happen, those did not fuel my decision to record him. Weaver said in their talks, Hester often brought up race, including when the schools were integrated and about the protests that went on throughout the summer months. So Weaver is doing the rope-a-dope and the Jedi mind trick on Hester because he brought up race in some of their discussions, including when the schools were integrated. I don't think schools being integrated is Hester's attempt to genocide Adocs in Georgia. I don't see the correlation, Mr. Cracker with 3 Ks, and about the protests that went on throughout the summer months. Still, I'm reaching, and I'm trying to see how Hester bringing up the integration of the schools and the protests that went on during the summer months, how that correlates to your whole genocidal plan for Adocs in Georgia. I'm reaching. I'm trying over here to see how they correlate. Dylan talked about the riots, Black Lives Matter, Antifa that were going on all summer, politics, Trump. And when I heard the tape of killing men, women, and babies, I was shocked. Mr. Cracker clutched his invisible pearls. Okay? I was shocked. I had to listen to it a couple of times. And that's when I knew he had spliced this together. It still took a while to figure out how and when I would have said that in a quiet apartment. Weaver wrote in his statement. Okay, so the man came right and he owns a whole business. Oh my God. Like I said, I heard no interruptions. I heard through lines. I heard sentences and words that stream together to form whole sentences. That's what I heard. Okay. Dylan said Trump never did anything good. I told him to remember for miles before he was elected every morning. This is how a white business owner writes in Georgia. They didn't edit it. Dylan said Trump, I'm going to try to edit it as I speak. Dylan said Trump never did anything good. I told him to remember for months, not miles, before he was elected, every morning there was a bombing in some country, somewhere in the world, by radical Muslims, where they were cutting off heads, burning them in baskets, and told Dylan, if all that had come to America, don't think for a minuet they wouldn't go through the streets killing men, women, children, babies. I think he meant ETC. I think minuet is supposed to be minute. And there is no telling how many times he had me say Lafayette Court. As part of his statement, Weaver said he used the N-word on the recordings to explain how things were in the past. Oh my God. Fixing Black Jesus. In explaining the past, I used the entire N-word several times as I heard it in the past, yet had not used in many, many years. You can join me over at YouTube Live. Had not used in many, many years, Weaver wrote. The word is featured numerous times on the audio clips. He uses that word like a Zatarain seasoning or something, Hester said. It does not faze him to use that word at all. And he will use it anytime, anywhere. The LPD said it continues to investigate the comments. Hester alleged that the law enforcement officers who investigated him, one from the LPD and one from the Troup County Sheriff's Office, told him to have the audio removed from social media. LaGrange Police Chief Lou Deckmer said he reviewed body cam footage, and Hester was asked if he would remove the audio from social media while LPD investigated the recording, but no demand was made. They want to disappear a whole genocidal plan by a cracker with 3 Ks of Adocs in Georgia. This is the police chief. Troup County Sheriff James Woodruff said that he would review body cam footage Thursday, but he said he's reviewed the report from the incident and there's no indication that a sheriff's deputy demanded that the audio be removed. How convenient. While LPD works the audio recording case, Woodruff said the TCSO is currently investigating 4 death threats made against Weaver via phone calls to his business. Why is Weaver still out of jail? You can't even say anything racist against an Asian and not be under investigation. But he can come up with a whole genocidal plan for Adocs in Georgia, and this man is still at his business? And the FBI haven't gotten involved? Anti-Black racism doesn't get checked? He can come up with a whole genocidal plan for all of Black Georgia and still be free to operate his business. Or the chief of police tells Hester, the whistleblower, to get rid of the recordings, take it off of social media. I've already shared with you guys in prior videos that the FBI reported in 2016 from their investigation since 2006 that the likes of Mr. Weaver has infiltrated the police force. So it's no wonder Police Chief Lou Deckmer, LaGrange Police Chief Lou Deckmer, said to disappear the tapes. He and Mr. Weaver are probably boys. Troup County Sheriff James Woodruff said that he would review. Okay, let me jump. So they're making death threats, and they're going to let him stay in his business, but are investigating the death threats for Mr. Weaver after hearing on tape a full genocidal plan to extinct Adocs in Georgia, to disappear them, to execute them, to annihilate them, to murder them. Woodruff said at least 3 of the calls likely came from the same man. In a phone call with the LDN, Weaver said he and his wife have signed divorce papers because she doesn't deserve any of this. She was leaving his cracker anyway. Trust and believe. He also said he might have to move. He has cost me everything, Weaver said of Hester. Anyone with information regarding the incident is asked to contact the LPD at 706-883-2603. 706-883-2603 or Troup County Crime Stoppers at 706-812-1000. 706-812-1000. No, you cost you everything working on genocidal plans for Adocs in Georgia. Oh, family. Let me come over here and see y'all. Erie Blackfire, thank you for joining the live. In the name of all countries. Wait. Let me go back. I'm going to try to see y'all comments. Oh, I'm at 107. I got to get to court, y'all. Let me see real quick. Y'all know y'all my co-host. Your sound is good. Thank you, my loves. Leave it to Georgia, says Brian Toothy. One of the organizers in LaGrange said the police that followed up with him were his friends, of course. Tomorrow, I'm going to read y'all the letter to the FBI by one of the activists. One of the organizers in LaGrange said the police that followed up with him were his friends, of course. Wow. Terry Lewis, welcome to the live, my love. And to all of you who have yet to chat, I thank you so much for joining your midday report. As the world of Adocs turns, the anti-Black racism continues. Fill in the blank. The defense, Brian said, is trying their best to enchant everyone into thinking they didn't see what they saw. That's the Floyd case he's referring to. You're absolutely right. What in the name of all country fried ratchetness, Brian? Oh, you and that Mike Michelson. Oh my God, y'all keep me. Terry Blackfire. Okay, family, that's my time. I gotta get my daughter to track. I'll see y'all at 6 o'clock for your anti-Black racism coverage of the Chauvin trial, day 8. If you can't come back at 6, know that the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever Adocs and its allies are, God truly is, because, family, you are the face of God. You are the voice of God. You are the body temple of the Spirit of the living God. I love you, Black. I love you, strong. Until 6 o'clock, you make it a beautiful, God-inspired rest of your afternoon. Peace.